Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of DripMyWhip G35 Sedan Edition. And this time we're picking up right where we left off in the last video. If you didn't see it, check it out right here. That is why the engine is sitting right there. Next is engine bay day. Hey, that rhymed. Today we're going to take this nasty ass engine bay with 160,000 miles of valve cover leaks, oil leaks, transmission leaks, and just zero cleaning ever. And we're going to take all the accessory wiring and everything off, lay it off to the side, power wash it, paint it, and just make it look brand new again. First thing I've got to do is just go around and just take all these little clips off all this wiring. We're going to deal with the wiring later. I'm going to show you what I mean in just a little bit. But for now, we're just going to go around and unbolt every single thing that's attached to the frame itself and just get it all bare metal so that way it's ready. Now this will be the only thing we can't move because it is the air conditioning, and messing with it too much will pop the refrigerant out of it. So we're going to leave that in place. Everything else is going to get moved and we'll bust out the power washer. Okay guys, so it's day 2 of this particular video. We're 7 days in total to the swap done on the G35 sedan. It's still very possible and very doable to get this started. Hopefully today, worst case will be tomorrow, but it'll be in the same video anyway. We'll just see how the day goes. Next up for this swap, now that the engine bay is painted, you're going to take some electrical tape and just refresh all of these wires. Like I said, we got a lot of broken wires going on over here. Just the wires aren't broken, but it's just all falling apart. So we're going to take some time and rewrap all this with fresh electrical tape. But next thing we've got to do is, this was an automatic car, hence the automatic transmission, it came out. But we are putting in a manual transmission engine. Funny part about these engine bays, this is the automatic sedan, and yet it still has a spot to mount your clutch fluid line. So they really just built these for either one. Now there's a couple things we're going to need, which I've already picked up. Is one, we need a clutch line. The factory line comes from somewhere under the frame here and then makes its way up here, which goes to the master cylinder. Well, there is no master cylinder and there's no clutch line. So I went and got to the auto store and I got me some custom line. As you can see, it is a flare fitting and it's just a bendable brake line. So all I'm gonna do is just hook it up here and then bend it in place and just run it up the side here and go right over. We're gonna take care of that in a minute. But the other thing about a manual transmission is you need 3 pedals and a shifter in the middle. So in here, I've got the manual transmission center console out of the G coupe. I pulled that out of it. This is the automatic center console that came with the car. So everything in the interior here is held on by clips. This is still plugged up, but as you can see, we've got the automatic transmission mechanism right here. And all this is coming out, and we're just gonna expose a giant hole right there so we can put our manual transmission. Once we get this part taken out, we can go ahead and mount our engine and transmission, which I'm very excited about. Only problem I think I'm gonna have is if you look at the two next to each other, they are not the same size even remotely. So my worry is that we're going to be left with some stuff that doesn't line up. I'm going to take the radio out of, I think this is too long. I mean, come take a look. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in the coupe. So the coupe is our parts car, as you've already known. So in the coupe here, this doesn't look as big. I don't know if it's that and this is the same, or if the center console is 100% different, because I'm sure the coupe and the sedan have different consoles. So we're gonna have to do some fab work, even if we have to take out the console in the sedan and just leave it. As you can see, once you've taken out all the trim, you're left with just this hole that's literally under the car right there. You're left with just this hole with these bolts. So I'm gonna take these bolts out and then have this. Hopefully the sedan has the exact same setup underneath, and we can just literally attach this, and then we can put our engine and transmission in. It's gonna be hard for me to video in here once I'm actually in there. So right here you have a clip that mounts right there to this line actually. And so this goes to your slave cylinder, and then this mounts right here. Now I know it looks a little ragged, I gotta rewrap this in fresh insulation, but it goes right there with the clip that goes through it. And then we're gonna take our custom line I got and literally just slink it up the side, come right over here, and just, I'm gonna leave it laying here, and we're gonna work on getting our master cylinder in there. Once we get the line slinked up, that's done. We'll get the interior part taken out and we'll just sit the motor down. I'm really ready. So running into a small problem I'm faced with is we've got all this taken out. This is the center console piece. I still gotta take a screw out back here. Now we can see in here and really see the difference between the two cars. As you can see, the shape of this from where the automatic transmission piece was mounted and where it all lines up is not the same as this is where our manual transmission one was, and it's close. As you can see, it overhangs just a little bit. I read online also that your trans is going to come right here for the manual because it's longer. So you need to cut this piece out. That's what I'm going to do, is take this back piece and just cut it down here, fold it back so we can get the actual engine and trans mounted. Now this center console isn't going to line up at all with where it sits at that point without, I mean, it's literally none of it's going to fit. So from what I'm looking at, from here to here appears to be the same as this car. And if you look here, it looks like we're looking at the exact same piece. So the e-brake's in a different spot. I'm not necessarily worried about that right now. You can see here the difference in the hole. Now this is part of the actual like frame of the car. It can be cut out, but like I'm not messing with that. We're gonna leave this in place, but the center console directly bolts up, from what it looks like, bolts up directly to the sedan as well. So I'm thinking, let's take the center console out of this and the front piece here and just move it to the sedan. As you can see, the clutch line is done. All I did was just take a piece of brake line and just ran it all the way up through here. We're gonna have a rubber mount right there, and it's just ready. I even hooked it up to a mock master cylinder just to see how it would screw in. Screws in just fine. We're just gonna run it right down in there. So we're good here, and we're good in the center console to mount everything. So there's no reason why the engine and transmission can't be in here anymore. Everything's prepped and ready. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff out of the way, and let's set the engine and trans down in there. Engine and transmission are officially in, bolted up, motor mounts, trans mounts, everything is sat in place and sealed. So now the next parts is to just hook the engine up, which I'll show you in a minute, but take a look at the fitment process of this. It fit perfectly. Take a look. Oh, I'm gonna sit on a saw. Hold on. Look at that. So the cutout worked perfectly. I ended up having to take this out a little bit, and because the manual trans is a little bit longer than the auto sat up here, manual sits back here. It actually has different mounting brackets down below, but the black car had the brackets, so I just used them off the black car. And look at this. Oh, I'm so excited. It's clearance. Everything clearance wise is perfect. There's nothing left to do. It's literally all mounted. So this is where it's going to sit. It's going to be a shift knob on top. This piece is too high. It's a little bit higher than the coupe's one. So like I said earlier, we're going to swap this out. That's actually going to be next. Instead of continuing with the interior, I really want to get the front of the car finished up, because we're moving so smooth up here. I would like to get as much done as possible up here. So gonna throw the wiring harness on and just put the motor together real quick. Should only take about an hour. Then put the front of the car back on, so that way we can be very done up here. Then work on tearing out the interior, because we've got a lot of pieces all around the shop of just random parts for this car. How have you been liking the car?
Yes, I want to drive it every day.
You want to drive every day?
Yeah.
What about you, Camila?
I love it. I want to drive it every single day I come here.
What's your favorite part about it?
My favorite part about it is fixing it.
Fixing it? You like to work on cars?
Yeah, I like to fix it and open the trunk in the car.
Nice.
Like,
okay, then what about you? Oh, hold on, you're not done yet?
In the car, like we can open the thing where you put your seats, and then you open the other one, and then you can put your things in the trunk. I like the color of it.
You like the color? To be honest with you, that's probably my least favorite thing about it.
Because it looks like gold.
It does look gold, but I think the paint could look a little better, because somebody did not so good of a job trying to make it look nice again. So I think we should change the color. Mm-hmm. What color do you think we should change it?
Black.
You think it should be black?
Yes.
What color do you think it should be?
Black.
Black? Okay, 2 votes for black. I honestly like black too. Let me know in the comments, what color do you want to see that G35 sedan? Everything's been going smooth. Oh, kitty! Kitty, kitty, kitty. What's up, Ozzy? Ozzy's so cute. All right, so back to what I was talking about, throwing the harness back on here. Let's get the front of the car back on. Probably just gonna time lapse stuff, because if you want to see each thing that gets put back on, that's in the engine removal video. I showed each part.
Day 2.
Good morning, everybody. It's the next day, still the same video, but for me, I just got some much needed sleep. I worked through the night buttoning up the car and just wanted to get some stuff cleaned up so we can jump straight to the fun. And I'll tell you what, I definitely worked hard last night, because we got most of the car put back together. And this kind of stuff was documented in the previous video of everything coming out. So I really just threw the front end back on and just finished buttoning everything up. Got everything put on. Everything's good to go. Now, there is no exhaust on the motor yet, because somebody cut the cats off. So it's got catless downpipes, and they mess with the Y pipe. So there's no exhaust on it. So when we start it up, it's going to be very loud. It's not going to stay that way. And yeah, we just got to throw a battery in it and put some oil in it, and we're ready to crank it up.
One eternity later.
So essentially the problem I'm having right now trying to start it. So because we manual swapped it, I'm trying to figure out what part of it. So this is the park sensor to make you pull it forward to make sure the car's in park. So technically the car's in park. If you thought about it that way, I haven't finished this yet, but it's in park. And I got to crank it over. And it gives me like the signal, like it's sending the signal to start it, like the gauges go away, but I don't hear the starter. So we're going to have to check a few things and see why, but I know that's in the right spot because it lets me take the key out. So something else is up here.
Eventually.
I had to take a day's break between the 2 clips just now to do a bunch of research on my wiring. I ran into a problem that if you guys are thinking about doing this swap or are in the middle of doing this swap, you're going to need to know this. Well, I found after looking at the wiring, I just messed with this a little bit. for the automatic transmission, if you think about it, when you have an automatic transmission, you're in park when you start your car. If you're ever in neutral, you'll know that it doesn't start when it's in park or when it's in neutral. So, being that there is no park or anything like that anymore, there's nothing telling the computer that it's safe to start the cars in park. It doesn't know, as you can see, what park is. It says automatic transmission check. There's problems with the transmission is all it knows. So what I did is I found in the fuse panel where the relay for the park ignition switch is, which literally tells the ECU the car is in park. I took a piece of wire, put it 12 volt power to it, and this is just, I'll clean this up later, I had to test it. So I put 12 volt power to a wire and brought it down in here. Hold on, let me turn my flash on. So I brought the wire down in here, and as you can see there, hold on, let me zoom in. As you can see, I have found the wire, and I just cut the wire, linked the two sides together, and brought power to it from 12 volts on the battery. That, in theory, should make this thing work. So let's see if we can get this thing to crank up now.
Day 4.
Now that that part's over, we've got the interior completely taken out of where we need to be. We needed to take this seat out so we can get lay down and get to the pedals and get all that taken care of. We also needed to take the other seat out to mess with the center console. This place is nasty. Look at this. You got stains on both sides. Disgusting. And so we're going to be cleaning all of this before we put anything back. I might even do something with the carpets to try to get the stains out. We're going to play with that here in a minute. First, we're going to focus on just getting some trash out and doing maybe a little bit of test fitting first. We put the coupe center console in and it fits perfectly. Look at that. I knew the higher center console was the only reason it was looking weird. Now that we got the right one in for a manual transmission car, it fits perfectly. Everything shifts nice. Everything is where it should be. I'm not terribly concerned about different interior colors. Do I wish this interior was black? Yes, but we can deal with that another day. I just want to get everything put together and all in one piece and see what we're working with, see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. Next, now that this is done, we can move on to getting the third pedal put in, and then in theory just bleed the clutch and we should be ready to drive it. So some things we're going to need to do down here to make this a 3-pedal car is take the e-brake out because it's going to be in the way, and I believe we need those mounting points. We're going to find out here in a minute. Also, if you've ever had a manual transmission car before, you know that manual transmission cars have a brake pedal half as big. They're only about this big, and that's so that there's room for the clutch pedal too. So this pedal is too big, and we'll most likely just end up cutting this. I have a different brake pedal, but I want to see what cutting this will do if I just cut straight down with it and leave that part of the pedal right here. So we'll probably do it that way. If this is really easy to pop off, we'll just take the other pedal I have from the coupe and throw it on here. It is very hard for me to film up in here with me in there and the camera, so I'll probably just continue to update y'all instead of trying to show it, because you're not going to be able to see anything. So give me just a second. E-brake has officially been taken out. I'm going to do something with this cable in a little bit. As you can see, we've exposed the firewall. Now this is from the e-brake. I don't think it's going to directly line up with our clutch pedal. So that's really the only unfortunate part. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that yet. First things first, we've got the clutch pedal. So if you look at mounting, we've got a hole here and a hole here. Now to get that up in there, and you also have one here, but I've already looked up in there. There's no spot for that. So this is a completely different shape than the e-brakes mount. So that's what I was afraid of. It can still get up in there. I mean, look, it's on there, but as you can see, that's in a very weird spot. And so that's not really where it's supposed to go. We need to get this a little bit more over here and a little bit further up. So what we're gonna find out now is probably mounting it up here. But before we mount it and do some cutting, let's take measurements of the coupe's firewall so we know where the original spot was for it. The coupe, we've already obviously taken the pedal out. If you look here, there's the mount for where the manual transmission clutch pedal goes. What is that? Oh, it's a mosquito. So here's what we can do. Obviously the two firewalls are different. So I'm gonna take measurements from this exact point where the brake pedals are in the exact same spot on both cars. So I'm gonna measure where exactly this is, and then we're gonna go measure out over there and make some marks. So what I've done is use that bolt and I've measured the other car, and 7.5 inches over and 3 inches up is where the hole is for the clutch on the coupe. So with that being said, it's a 1 1/4 inch hole. So I can drill a 1 1/4 inch hole where it theoretically is, and then drill the two holes in the same spot where they are in the coupe. And I've already checked where that puts this. And if you look closely, give me a second, let me finagle it up in there. That sets it about right above those studs, and it should mount just fine. So let's give it a shot. I'm about to drill a hole. When I tell y'all that this was hard, I got that through. We did it. We got all the way through. The hole looks like crap, but as you can see, I got it. I messed up the hole and went too high. It was hitting the brake booster, so I had no choice but to come down. So I got one mounted. We're about to put the pedal on and see how it all lines up. And what we're gonna have to do with that is, once we get it all where we want it, that's not structurally sound, but we've got it in there. It's where it needs to be, the lines on it. Now I'm gonna try to fit the pedal onto it. And what we're gonna have to do when it's all said and done, it's mounted where I want, I'm gonna have to get Jamal, my welder, to actually tack the pedal onto the firewall, because there's no way this is gonna hold up over time. But let's just at least get it on there and see how it looks. And to my surprise, I haven't cut this yet, but look at that. It actually mounted up in there just by putting the two bolts on for the master cylinder. It's nice and sturdy. Now we're still gonna have it tacked together and seal the hole, but we'll do that in a little bit. But we got it together to where we can bleed the clutch. So the pedal's on there. If you come around the top, you can see I've got the reservoir bolted up in the factory position. This is the clutch line. I had to use pretty long lines. I had to curl it just to make sure we had enough when we were bringing it up. It's all hooked up. Everything is on down there. We're ready to bleed a damn clutch. So in the brief intermission, we finished the swap 100%, bled the clutch. Now we have a master cylinder, everything, slave cylinder, it's all finished. And what's up, Seb? How you doing? Robbie, you want to be part of the vlog? Check it out. We got 3 pedals. Oh, and you took the... Well, we're going to work on the brake pedal in a little bit. But we got it to a point where, in theory, it should just put in first gear and drive out of here. So that's what we're about to check right now. And we're going to see if all of this hard work actually paid off. I'm going to set the camera up, and I'm very excited to crank this thing up for the first time and actually try it. Well, not for the first time, but crank this thing up to get it out.
You're good. You're good. Come on. Yeah, it's like turn a little bit this way. Woo! Oh my God. Fucking way.
This is now a stick shift G35. Yo, I'm so proud. I'm actually like really proud of this moment. Dude, this is what I'm really proud of this. We did this in like the actual time it took.
Just like the Z too.
It does sound just like the Z. We put the Z's exhaust on. I'm actually gonna update y'all here in a little bit. We're gonna keep vlogging on the car. I gotta get a couple things checked real quick, and then I'll cut back to y'all in a minute.
the next day.
So I noticed yesterday, guys, that this thing doesn't have headlights for some reason. I'm not sure why. And the tire was flat and it was doing some stuff. I was gonna drive it last night to show y'all that the car moved, but decided to wait till today because didn't want to get any issues with the headlights. So without further ado, this is our first drive. Let's see, does this car actually drive down the road and how well does it drive? Okay, let's crank her up. Woohoo! Pull the window down. I cannot believe I'm driving my manual swap sedan after only 2 weeks of working on it. All right, it doesn't have a plate, so we're gonna stay in the neighborhood. Here we go. Oh, I gotta get used to the clutch. Guys, it's driving. Oh my god. Don't mind me, just cruising along. Hi everybody. Hi white people. Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to put the rest of the exhaust on there. It's driving so smooth. I'm actually genuinely surprised at how smooth this car is driving. The rev match isn't that good like it is in the Z. So this manual swap, I could really call it complete, man. Let's look. Well, we successfully removed the engine and transmission from this car and put the 350Z's engine and CD09 transmission inside it and brought this thing back to life in an even cooler form, now being 100% manual swapped. It just works. The car works great. As you just saw, it drives fantastic, and I couldn't be more happier with the swap itself. I tried to do the best I can with documenting each thing I did to make this car a manual transmission. So my fellow VQ guys out there, whether you have a coupe, a sedan, a 350Z, the process is all the same. I tried to document every single thing about it, just to kind of show you everything. If for any reason, as I'm editing this, I realize I missed a step or anything like that, check out the description of this video where I'm going to list out each thing that you have to do specific to the manual swap to get yours just like mine. And honestly, I'm going to call this a success. I mean, we just drove this thing down the road. It's awesome. Now we can start on even more fun stuff, which is modifying the outside of this car, which I already have a bunch of stuff for it that I haven't shown y'all. So don't miss the next video because it's already not going to look like this the next time you see it. So without further ado, I hope y'all like this video. I hope you guys have a good time manual swapping your car if that's why you watched this video. And if you just watched it to watch me do it, well, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit the like button because that will let me know that. And also don't forget to subscribe because we've got a lot of awesome content coming forward. This car is going to be doing a lot of stuff coming up. So without further ado, guys, I will see y'all on the next episode of Drip My Whip. Peace.